What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of SSPN Postgame, the first regular season postgame of the 2025-26 season, Ethan. And the Spurs have moved to 4-0 against the Toronto Raptors. I'll dish it to you to start, man. I'm sure we'll go through guys individually and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. This one was definitely a tale of two halves, not to spoil what you're going to say, but what were your overall thoughts on this one, man?
I was literally going to say a tale of two halves. First quarter and second quarter were unbelievable for the Spurs, who really got off to a great start. Offensively, we continue to look very good. The cohesion is there. The pick and roll play with Wemby is there. We're taking our time and dismantling teams in the half court, but it's when we get out in the pace of play that we actually start, you know, really running up the score on guys. The second quarter, it really just continued from there. But that second half, Jude, that was really rough, especially the third quarter. When you look at this box score, though, for the third and fourth quarter, it just looked like a tight game, but it was
Mm-hmm.
really messy from the Spurs. I think turnovers really told the story for us in that second half. Of our 20 turnovers, I'm not sure how many came in the second half, but it felt like almost all of them. And especially for
Mm-hmm.
Steph Castle, who was, really had a great game, but turnover wise in that third and fourth quarter, he was really trying to give the Raptors a shot there, but we never let it get closer than 8 points. And at the end of the day, we were able to have another run in that fourth quarter and close it out in 121-103. Jude, like in the years past, this is a game we easily let slip, and we're finding ways to close them despite giving up some runs in that third quarter. That's becoming a trend. Only 4 games into the year, but hopefully we can right that ship. But at least we're closing these games, I guess, is the caveat there.
Yeah, 100%. And the other thing that I got to keep reminding myself, because as we've talked about going into this season, the ante is just up. Even for me and you watching, it's a different standard than even last year. And we felt like the ante was up last
Mm-hmm.
season. But the thing that I keep reminding myself, Luke Cornett was out tonight. I
Yep.
mean, look at Colin Murray Boyles. I mean, first of all, 3 for 5 on threes, man. It was definitely a part of the game plan to leave him open. I mean, when we talked about our prospect breakdown, that was really the main criticism. I kind of compared him to Jeremy in the sense that, definitely different players. Like I would say that Colin Murray Boyles is more of a big. You saw him as a 5, but just in the sense that they're kind of the do everything, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Except shooting, if you will,
Right.
when it comes to that front court position and being able to be switchable and guard on the perimeter as well as on the interior. But Luke Cornett would have helped a ton with Colin Murray Boyles tonight, but it wasn't just him. Of course, Jeremy Sohan, De'Aaron Fox, and Kelly Olynyk still all out. And I think even Lindy Waters is another name that was
Yep.
also out tonight. So got to give a shout out to our guy, Jordan McLaughlin. He hit a nice three off
Mm-hmm.
a Dylan Harper drive inside. But, you're seeing guys out there like Bismack Biyombo and Jordan McLaughlin who, even in other injury scenarios this season, aren't going to play. So that's another thing you got to remind yourself about this team. But to just comment on the game itself, like you said, it really was a tale of two halves. And when you consider yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets, we did let, almost a 20-point lead slip all the way back into their favor, as much as, again, like you were saying, the key theme is they found a way to rally and still won that one too. I'm happy that today, as much as there was still, some rough stuff in the second half, and you definitely let the Raptors get, much more of the lead back than the Spurs would have liked. They still kept it to 8, didn't let the lead get back. That's an improvement over yesterday. And when you consider it was a back-to-back as well, there's got to be some positives that you take from that, as much as there's still some things that you want to improve on.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the box score for Toronto, you slowed down the guys you wanted to slow down, right? Defensively, it was clear you wanted to stop Scotty Barnes. You slowed him down, only had 8 points. Brandon Ingram had 14 points, but was kind of a strenuous 14, couldn't hit the three either. But Colin Murray Boyles with 19, Emmanuel Quickly with 15. Those are kind of unexpected guys that rallied for them offensively. RJ Barrett, you can kind of see he's a scorer. 25 is kind of in his realm, but I think defensively we still played a really solid game. It was mostly just self-inflicted mistakes that got Toronto back into this. Um, and then I love what you brought up with Bismack, especially. I texted you, and I want to say this real quick.
Dude.
Having Luke Cornett, yeah, really makes Bismack Biyombo look a lot worse. So, like to think that he was like transcendent for us at the second half of last year is really crazy to think about. Just how poor we were in terms of a backup center. Luke Cornett is just like night and day. He looks so much better than Bismack.
And as much as like I don't mean this in any like way as a negative to Luke. Like
Mhm.
Luke isn't like, like an all-star, like,
Yeah,
defensive
no.
stopper or something. He's just a solid role player. And that is just how desolate the Spurs backup front court has been. But still, was happy to have Biz out there as a body tonight because we did need that with rotations. And Tanner Robertson brings up a good comment here. This was another kind of theme of the game that I wanted to get into. He says, definitely thought Wemby's legs looked heavier in the second
Mm,
half. And on the pregame show today, they mentioned that Wemby said yesterday that he was kind of a little bit tired in that game. So I think you could see in this one, kind of scored a little bit at the beginning. But I mean, what was his field goals? What did that end up being? Okay, so he
7
did
of
end up
8.
taking 8 shots, but there was a point like midway, like late in the third quarter, where
Yeah.
he had only taken 2 shots. Now, granted, at that time, he had 10 free throws, so it wasn't, he had taken more shots than that. They were just fouled and not recorded. But still, I think definitely Wemby kind of had his foot a little bit more off the gas in this one. This is the first back to back of the season. And then, of course, like I said, with the comments that I heard pregame on the Spurs broadcast, I could definitely see that as well. But the thing that encouraged me is one, the way that the team played around him. As we
Mhm.
got our guy Winky in the shot here. But then two, the fact that he turned it up in the fourth when it mattered most. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
I mean, look, dude, if a tired night, Wemby's going to have 24, 15, 4, 1 and 1, and 10 for 10 on free throws and 7 for 8 shooting, man. That just shows how generational this guy is.
Yeah, I'll take it, right? And I think the
Yeah,
point
yeah,
you just
I'll just
made.
take it.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's Zach Collins numbers for sure. Uh, you know what? I will say I noticed we weren't. I don't know if it was by design or if it was because he was fatigued, but he wasn't getting as many post touches as he was in those first 3 games. He was getting some isolations. That's how he was drawing fouls off the dribble. But as far as being on the block and trying to make some hook shots, some footwork, I think maybe he had a couple shots like that. But that really wasn't what we were going to offensively.
Yeah, the game plan was definitely spread the wealth tonight, and that was another key to victory, kind of for
Hmm.
Sean Elliott pregame, and you definitely see that on the box score. What is it here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures, and man,
Yep.
if you look at Julian at 9 there, that's pretty close
Hmm.
to another one as well. So a lot of different guys stepping up tonight. Not the if you look at just the box score, I was going to say you could say not the most efficient night from Steph, but he still went 50% overall. But if you wanted to like nitpick something there, you could say it wasn't the most efficient night, but dude went to the line. I know, yeah, has the 5 misses, but still that penetration and rim pressure was something that was huge for us. And let me
Hmm.
pull up my notes here. I can't remember the start of which quarter it was. I want to say that it may have been, well, no, the fourth was just a really bad start. Okay, it was this third quarter. Steph got to the line and got to the hole like immediately out at halftime. And that was really how he was able to get like a good bit of his points there. Ended up getting to 22. We needed that tonight. I felt like it was almost a quiet 22, probably because of how much that he got to the line. Um,
Hmm.
but Devin Vassell, 50% overall. Yes, 2 for 6 from threes, but some of the threes that he hit, I felt like were very timely. Plus 20 in the box score. You see the 5 assists from him, 2 steals as well. Of course, Harrison Barnes, dude, he was sniping off the ball
Hmm.
all night long. You can say the same thing for Keldon with 10 points off the bench there. And then, dude, Dylan Harper, not to just go over the entire team here, but
No, please.
Dylan Harper, man, the 6
Yeah.
assists he had, and not just like the scoring. There were 3 different assists that I counted where it was literally just because he was driving to the rim and people had to crash. Wide open 3 for Julian in the corner, wide open 3 for Devin at the top of the key, and then wide open 3 for Keldon on the wing. We talked about his explosive driving ability and, kind of the rim pressure. I talked about that, I believe, last episode, how Devin mentioned that, preseason in an interview. But I
Hmm.
really saw that tonight. And that's just another aspect of our offense that, like, I mean, he can literally get us an open look by just driving to the rim. And
Hmm.
we still have other guys like Victor Wembanyama on the team. And again, we still have not seen De'Aaron Fox this season, and he's going to do a very similar thing to that as well. And another thing on Dylan Harper, just while we're on him, dude, I've really liked what I've seen from him off the ball as
Hmm.
well as on ball defensively. But like I said, I really think that he has more combo guard potential than I would have thought before seeing these preseason games and these first 4 games of the regular season.
It's a really good point. He doesn't look lost in any way when he's playing off the ball, which is great because he's going to be playing off the ball for a while. However, I will say in that third and fourth quarter, it was so messy turnover wise. Like Steph was great, and I won't take anything from Steph, but those turnovers were really hurting us in
They
that third
were
and fourth quarter. And there was a moment where I was like, take the ball away from Steph, man. Get it to Dylan because Dylan is such a cool, calm, and collected point guard. Steph is like a bowling ball, right? He is.
yes,
He's got a little bit of Keldon in him. He's gonna get to the rim. He's gonna
for
be
sure.
physical. He's trying to draw fouls, and he's unfortunately gonna make some mistakes. Dylan, I wasn't really scared that he was gonna make a really stupid mistake. Like he'd rather do a Steve Nash dribble and take it all the way back out than make an ill-advised pass. So in those situations where we were giving Toronto some momentum, kind of wanted Dylan Harper with the ball.
I totally feel you. I know that exact stretch that you were talking about. You see 5 turnovers on the night for
Hmm.
Steph, and a couple of those were consecutive, and definitely was getting in his head a little bit. But made that clutch 3 at
He
the
did.
end. I mean, still, like as much as there's some mistakes that we can nitpick for Stephon, he was a huge part of the Spurs getting the win. The only other guy on the team in 20-point totals. But yeah, man, to go back to Dylan Harper, dude, I don't even know what to say. I guess the last thing that I'll say is we closed with him. We literally
Hmm.
put him on the floor at the end of the game, and we were kind of running Steph at the 2. And it made me think about, that's really what Steph's position is going to be when De'Aaron comes back. So I wouldn't mind seeing more of that, where you're kind of having Dylan play that true point guard role next to Stephon. But dude, I mean, I don't know. I know Dylan had 27 minutes tonight, but I feel like if we gave him just like, you know what I mean? Say it was like 34. So you know what I mean? That's
Hmm.
7 more minutes. I feel like he could have got to 20 points, dude, or close to it. Like this, you saw it in the Brooklyn game. I know it's only 4 games, but I texted you this during the game. I was like, this is the first time where I had the thought, like, this dude might be better than Cooper Flag. And it's going to be a very long season. Cooper had some really good plays recently. Like, they're going to be neck and neck. They're both the elite of the elite. Like, I don't mean that
Hmm.
in like a disrespectful way to Cooper Flag, but dude, like, he's an all NBA, all star level, player. He was a
Hmm.
number 2 pick, and he's got an NBA bloodline, and man, it's showing. And all the things that you had questions about with Rutgers, dude. Like I said, the intensity, the ball pressure, the on ball IQ defensively, the way that he fights for rebounds on the offensive boards as well as the defensive boards, like you kind of see some shades of Keldon there. And again, dude, he's 6'6", 215. Like he's not a
Hmm.
small body when he's going and fighting for those boards. I think, man, I think the Spurs can instill a lot of other things in Dylan Harper that with his toolkit athletically, man, we said this with Steph last year, but really, dude, with Dylan Harper, the sky's the limit as well.
Yeah, we were really blessed. Let's be completely honest. He makes
Okay.
everything that he does look so effortless.
I
Yeah.
gotta say, Mordecai, this is a great point because dude's been going off. I saw that crazy block of Palo earlier. He says
Hmm.
VJ is the rookie of the year, my guy. That's actually 100% true as of right now. But I do think that Dylan Harper is playing as a finalist at the least.
He's number one in terms of points plus assists. Dylan Harper is at
Ooh,
the top of the list, followed by VJ Edgecombe and Cooper Flag. So I think it'll come down to the wire, honestly, with all three of those guys. I think they're all
yeah,
gonna put in some crazy numbers, and then as the season progresses, Dylan Harper's role, in my mind, will only expand.
yeah,
Um, because we'll get everybody back. De'Aaron will be healthy, and you'd think maybe minutes restricted, but I think minutes increase because the rotation will probably be decreased as well. I don't think Jordan McLaughlin and these guys are going to have real meaningful
yeah.
rotational minutes down the season. Um, what's crazy, Jude, is not to get stuck on Dylan, but
No,
when
you're
you
good.
look at who's playing, especially in these last 2 games against Brooklyn and Toronto, it's basically last year's roster. The only difference is no CP, throw in Dylan Harper. So if you could
And
say that he
Carter.
he
Yeah,
is and Carter, but we don't have Jeremy Sohan right now, so I'm gonna swap them out, Jeremy and Carter, a
very
little bit.
fair.
Um, he's been kind of the catalyst on that bench unit, right? I mean, you got give KJ his flowers too. KJ's been great, but Dylan Harper has really been the floor general in that regard and kept our bench unit poised. Um, so it's really been crazy to watch him have such an immediate impact like that because so far without De'Aaron back, Jeremy being hurt, Kelly Olynyk, Luke's not playing last 2 games. Like it's pretty much just been last year's roster plus Dylan.
And he's been a huge part of like being the difference, kind
Hmm.
of, especially yesterday, with the 20 piece and 8 and 6.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, man, he's going to be a huge integral part of the team moving forward. I'm so excited to see we got 78 more games. I'm sure maybe there'll be a rest day or so in there, but I'm so excited to see the rest of the season for Dylan
Hmm.
Harper. But mention Carter Bryant a little bit in there too. We talked about, especially with these injuries with Luke Cornett out, he can bring some size. Had a really smooth, solid three that he hit. He had a turnover that was followed by a massive block.
Hmm.
Nothing crazy from Carter, but dude, I again, as much as this is just 3 minutes 11 minutes and 3 shots, and not the craziest stat line, I liked what I saw from him out there, dude. You can definitely see that he's a rookie. He's raw. He's still learning the NBA. But there's
Hmm.
also times I felt like defensively, even when he made a mistake, he was so athletic that he would recover and make it right. What were your thoughts on what you saw from Carter Bryant in the minutes we got tonight?
Yeah, defensively, I think he's ready, dude. Like he can play with the big boys. He might make a couple of, overcommitment mistakes, but otherwise he's ready to go, and he'll only learn as he continues to play. Offensively, I think just confidence and ball handling, and he is right where he needs to be. You can say tweaks to his shot, but I think his form is beautiful. I think it's just a matter of reps and confidence when it comes to pulling up. I mean, the one that he hit today was effortless and fluid. So I'm not worried there. Just work on his ball handle, get more confident taking it off the dribble, and he's ready to be a rotational piece. And I mean, he's not getting much right now. Obviously, he's no plays are being drawn up for him, but he's making the most of his opportunity. And I think he's, what's best is he's not a glaring negative when you're
Yeah.
watching him play.
Yeah, he's fitting in pretty
Hmm.
seamlessly for a rookie. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're still going to see those rookie type moments in there, but he's got a high IQ, places himself well. And I'm definitely like, again, it was just 1-3 tonight, Ethan, but I'm
Hmm.
seeing like as much as we talked about the on ball potential that he has, and like long term he could really grow into something even more than a 3 and D guy. I'm seeing how like maybe in like the next 2 or 3 years he really could come in and be like an elite 3 and D guy. And then even longer than that, you know what I mean? If we can continue to develop other parts of his game, dude, he's another like a what's the word? Like a we're sculpting a Greek sculpture, dude, and we're just at the beginning, and
Mm.
he could really become refined.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still in his early stages right now. He's just a giant rock. Pretty
Exactly.
soon he'll be a beautiful sculpture in the Louvre. Hopefully, he doesn't get stolen. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, dude. So someone else I really want to talk about because I
Yeah.
criticized him a lot coming out of the preseason is Devin Vassell. He has been excellent in these first 4 games. You can say maybe inefficient that first game against Dallas where he had 13 points on 40% shooting, but otherwise, I think in these last 3 games he has played his role very well. 3-point clip is starting to fall. He's 45% in the first 4 games overall. Um, and you know what? He's not taking shots away from anybody. I worried that it would be one or the other, Jude. I worried that
Uh-huh.
he would be either missing MIA from action or he'd be ball hogging and not sharing the rock with the rest of the team. But and in 4 games, he's found a way to be pretty balanced in terms of his attack. And he's spacing the floor very well and getting some open shots. I'm proud with, and defensively, he's been very, very good too. Last couple years, people thought, okay, maybe he's just 3, not D. This
Right.
this this year, only 4 games. Again, caveat, but he's looked very good defensively.
Yeah, there's some things that you could nitpick, but I think overall this is exactly what we want from Devin in this version of the team. You could maybe even make an argument that maybe these numbers dip just a little bit with guys like Jeremy and especially De'Aaron Fox getting
Hmm.
inserted back into the lineup. But dude, especially in that New Orleans game, as much as it wasn't the most efficient game, we needed him bad in that overtime win. Um, and yeah, dude, he's just, I mean, especially look at the last 3 games from
Hmm.
three. I know 6 for 14 against New Orleans, but that was, again, we didn't really have a lot of other guys taking shots in that one. I kind of feel like we needed him to take those shots, and a lot of those threes down the stretch were important, and still 42% overall, but 66%. And then, yeah, I guess 2 for 6, 33 there, but still 50% the past 2 games. This is an improvement over last
Mhm.
season for Devin Vassell. But honestly, regardless of the offensive stuff, we've kind of seen flashes of that before. Like you said, the biggest thing for me from Devin this year is defensively his IQ and rotations. You can see he's had a steal in every single game and 2 games with multiple steals.
Right. Right. I don't want to beat a dead horse either, but you can say similar things about Keldon Johnson. Yeah, great comment, Jacob. KJ's been playing very well. New Orleans, I'm looking at his game log right now. New Orleans only 8 points. He did foul out, but I still think that was a really good decision to foul out in that game from KJ. And he's not bulling China shop anymore. He's just dog in China shop, Jude. He's he's not causing quite as much destruction, but he's still causing disruption for the other team, playing very physical. And 7 rebounds a game for someone that's only 6'5" is crazy. And they talked about that in the dual press conference they did. I don't know if you watched it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
KJ and Victor. Victor talked about how much he liked to see that level of effort from KJ. So I'm glad he's having some success in this role as well.
Yeah, and to that point, man, the only shot that he took in the second half tonight was a putback on Carter Bryant when Carter Bryant was
Yes.
trying to get a post hook kind of late in the shot clock. That was his, and he went off in the first half. He went 2 for 3. He had 8 points. You know what I mean? That would be the perfect opportunity. Okay, Keldon, you had a great half. Think about how many years in the past he'd just be taking as many shots as he want,
Hmm.
for the rest of the game, and all he did was take a putback and just contribute in the best ways possible. So yeah, definitely a lot of maturity and growth from these guys. Just 4 games, but loving what we're seeing so far. But I see a lot of stuff in the comments, Ethan. I forgot about this. Nate6738 says Hawks lose again. Robert
Mm.
Ball says go Spurs go. Looking forward to that Hawks pick. Mordecai, LOL, Hawks lost. Tribal Chief, he says Spurs win, Hawks lose. What a beautiful day. I forgot we also have their 2026 pick, Ethan.
We do. This could end very well for the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know if you saw that Duke game, Jude, but if
Ooh, I did
we're able
not.
to get a top 3 pick and able to get Cameron Boozer,
Oh my. If
things are
we get
looking
one of the
really
Boozer
good for
brothers.
us. I think he had 24 and 23 or 25 and 23, one or the other. Uh, yeah, that would be nuts
Okay.
because Harrison's on an expiring deal. Imagine Jeremy just becomes a starter and you have Cameron Boozer coming in to play the 4 spot next to Victor Wembanyama as a physical bruiser. That would be absolutely disgusting. So come on, Hawks. Keep blowing it up. Chris Apps, come on, keep doing your thing, buddy.
Dude, and those having like 2 caliber guys, well, they technically have 3 with Steph, like
And
all
Dylan,
on
5.
yeah,
4.
all on rookie contracts. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That would be that we would just have so much flexibility with the amount of talent that we had in those first couple years while their rookie contracts were going on. But we'll have to see. That's definitely something to monitor though this season for sure.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do like periodically, just like a
Right.
Hawks check in, see how they're doing.
Alrighty, man. Well, before we wrap this episode up today, I know you got work tomorrow. We had a 30-minute hard stop on this one. Any final thoughts on this Raptors game that we had tonight?
I think we mentioned him briefly, but just to mention him again, Harrison Barnes, great game, comeback game from him. He's kind of had a rough start to his year, and in the preseason, 18 points, 4 of 5 from three, and that fifth one was a really tough. Like kind of had to take it three. Love to see that from him. This is exactly what he does for us, and 5 assists.
Yeah, and those were quiet assists. I was
Hmm.
mentioning that as well. You always see him making extra passes. It may not be the flashiest thing, but you'll look at the stat sheet and see, hey,
Hmm.
he's been involved in the ball movement. And look at that. I mean, only 4 assists from Stephon Castle tonight, but you got 5 from Devin, you got 4 from Victor, and then you got 6 from Dylan Harper off the bench as well. But
Hmm.
definitely that starting unit, sharing the rock, a lot of ball movement, not one guy really just orchestrating and
Hmm.
facilitating things like you kind of see off the bench. Um, but yeah, man, Harrison was a big one. Those threes were super timely, and I was
Hmm.
kind of thinking the same thing. Me, you, and Chris, we talked about, it wasn't the most efficient preseason for him, but he's a vet. We're seeing as the season started that, he's back. And I almost texted you, dude. I was like, have any of his shots hit the rim tonight? Like, it felt like all of the ones that he drained were just swishes,
Yeah, nothing but net. I don't think he did hit the rim, Jude. Good call.
except on the miss he had.
Right, but we're nitpicking.
There you go. Yop Yop also brings up a great comment. That 360 layup from
Mm,
Wemby at the beginning of the game, dude, was just absolutely nuts.
sickening.
Robert Ball says, thank you guys. Love these live streams. We love you being in here, man. Appreciate your support. He says hit the like button as well. We
Thank you, Robert.
appreciate and encourage that. Ethan, you know what? I'll wrap it up with this. What are some of the things that you think are going to be added to this team when we get some of our injured guys back?
Oh, man. Well, Jeremy Sohan, I think, is going to be very important. I mean, the obvious one is De'Aaron Fox. Just like we were already so full at the guard position, what
Mm-hmm.
does he bring to us? Just more rim pressure, more pace of play, and a little bit better cohesion because he's an underrated passer, and his connection with Victor was obvious last year, so that's exciting. But Jeremy Sohan, defensively, dude, just as an absolute menace, as a physical dog next to a guy like Luke Cornett. Our bench defense has maybe been a weaker point, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, so
Yeah,
far through
for
4
sure.
games. That's about to be corrected and then some with the emergence of Jeremy Sohan. So I can't wait to see
Dude.
that.
And if that backup rotation of the front court is
Mm.
Jeremy and Luke, dude,
Sprinkle a little sprinkle a little Kelly Olynyk in there from time to time.
ooh,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. And the thing is, with Kelly Olynyk's spacing, you could go with a big lineup where you could play
Hmm.
like Jeremy at the 3 if you really wanted to.
Absolutely, a lot of versatility that we're waiting on to see here. It's gonna be exciting. And Lindy Waters. Let's not forget old Lindy.
Yeah, absolutely. Another off-ball sniper
Hmm.
for the Spurs. Just for me on my end, with De'Aaron Fox, it's isolation scoring as
Hmm.
well as the pick and roll with Wemby, and just being a true point guard, orchestrating things as much as we love our guy Steph. And then with Jeremy, it's just more rebounding. Think about the rebounding that we've already seen this year, and then defense on the interior and the perimeter. Like Jeremy's one of our best natural defenders, I would say. So
Yep.
to add him back into this mix that's already been a much improved defense, I'm really excited to see what that looks like. I mean, for all of these struggles, dude, when we get the full squad and then we go up with like the Thunder or something, like I'm so
Hmm.
excited to see how we truly match up against some of these elite teams in the league.
Yeah, we got one game Thursday, and I think Jeremy and De'Aaron will not be in that one. Everyone else
Hmm.
should be, and God forbid another injury pops up. It should be Phoenix Sunday that we actually see the first fully healthy Spurs
Okay.
team, if I'm not mistaken, Jude. So that'll be an interesting one in Phoenix. It's November 2nd, so we'll have to be watching that one.
Yeah, Multi King of Chaos says, when is Fox coming back? They announced at the beginning of the season that his estimated return date is November 2nd. That is a little bit fluctuated, but
Hmm.
essentially it was like the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season is what they insinuated. So it should be coming up. At the least, he should be back by mid November.
I hope beyond hope that he's back by Friday, November 7th, Jude, for that
You going to
Prime
a
Video
game?
game against Houston. No, I just love that
Ooh,
rivalry,
yes,
dude, and I
yes.
hope we're healthy for that one because that'll be a really fun game in San Antonio as well.
And that's going to be a national TV game. First time
Mhm.
with the Prime crew there. That'll definitely be a fun one. Swatcho Bros, one of the OGs, he says, shout out Harrison Barnes for this bounce back game. Much
Mhm.
needed from him. Completely agree. And here's something I haven't heard in a while, Ethan. Eric 50 says, race for Sace, baby. We're
Mm,
truly back in it. I don't know if it'll happen this season, but we're definitely back in that being the motivation for San Antonio.
absolutely. The clock starts now.
100%. We appreciate all you guys coming and hanging out with us. Leave in the comments your thoughts on the game and your expectations for Jeremy Sohan, Kelly Olynyk, De'Aaron Fox, and Luke Cornett whenever they come back. And don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button below if you enjoyed the content. And if you want to stay updated to everything, turn on that notification bell or follow us on X or Twitter at SSPN on YT, at Jude McLaren, and at Ethan_Quintero. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch